Hi there, welcome to Cocktail Mode, the podcast where me, Andy, and my very good friend Dave pick a retro game and try and pair it with a cocktail. Today we are looking at Fear Effect, the game and the series from 2000. Before we even start, I'm going to say right now, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. It's a story-based game. We're going to talk about every element of the story of the first two games. Genuinely, go and play the games before you listen to us. If you don't care, just listen to us. But we are just going to talk about the games, which will mean us talking in depth and doing spoilers. Normally what we do when we pick games is we go through a list or we have a thing that we want to play. And for some reason, I really wanted to play Fear Effect again. So I said, let's do Fear Effect, basically, is what happened. Dave was up for it, but I was under the impression you'd played it before, had you?
I don't think so. I think I may have borrowed it off of you once. But when I started to pick it up and play it recently, I couldn't remember anything about it at all. So yeah. I'm not sure I ever did actually play it.
And you finished it?
I have now finished it, yes.
Did you play the second one as well?
No, I didn't pick that up at all. I think I downloaded it. I got that far, but other things took over.
Yeah, it's a lot longer, but it's not. This is something we'll get into in a lot more detail later on. It doesn't feel like value, really. It's one of those where it feels like it's adding in a lot of backtracking and fucking about to make a game longer, because the first one got criticised for being very short. I mean, generally speaking, I think about 6 hours will see most people right. I can't remember what I did it in. It was a bit longer than that. But one of the things that I found when I was looking at it was Eurogamer have all of their old reviews archived. You can read them all on Eurogamer's website. So it's still there. And it's like they set out to hate it. It's just bizarre. They say it's like 3.5 hours to complete it. I mean, good fucking luck.
If you do a perfect run through, which I've sort of edited my gameplay footage to be, it's just over 3 hours. So it's possible. No fucking way would you ever do that on your first go, though.
Yeah, not exactly.
Or even your second. Because you'd have to leave it several weeks before going back to it again.
I must admit, as much as I genuinely love the first game, I didn't really want to replay it again.
Thanks for warning me.
No, I mean, I still love it and I think it's great, but I just think let's do the thing. Let's describe the game in case anyone hasn't played it. So Fear Effect is essentially, it's a game that came out in the wake of the Resident Evil games. So it's fixed camera, tank controls, but it sets out to be more action orientated than that. You have a lot more guns. You have very specifically a shit ton more ammo. You very rarely struggle for ammo in the game.
Unless you're me on disc 2.
But the selling point for the game was that rather than having fixed rendered backgrounds, it had animated rendered backgrounds, which sounds a bit twee in this day and age, but it really was a bit of a game changer. And it's weird. I couldn't help but think of GIFs when I was watching them.
They very clearly loop.
Yes, they
quite quickly, don't they?
Yeah, they're very short animated loops that run as the background images for every part of the game, and they like to try and make a point of the fact they're animated. So there is usually something animated in the background. But yeah, they're very short, and it is very much a little, I don't know how to describe it really, but it's not a smooth loop. There is definitely
there's like a frame skip, isn't there?
Yeah.
when it starts again. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a great idea, not amazingly well implemented, but I applaud the effort, definitely.
Yeah.
It gave the game a really good feel and a good look. The only issue that I had with them is that they're so low resolution that unless you're playing on a tiny, like, portable handheld size screen, they look awful now.
But I think part of that would be you played it on an emulator.
Yeah.
With upscaling, and the upscaling on emulators tends to only work on the in-game graphics, not the background.
Yeah, you can't upscale FMV.
Yeah. So I think the fact that your characters moving around and other items in the foreground were in better definition probably exacerbated the fact that the backgrounds are a bit grainy, low res. I mean, I completely agree. They do look quite old school now.
Well, you played it back in the day. How did they look back then?
Just incredible. It was genuinely impressive in a way that I kind of, when I started playing it again, I kind of forgot for a while that it was a thing. You know what I mean? I just completely took it for granted, and I can't remember what part it was in particular. Oh, there's a boss. It's a helicopter. Or am I thinking of Fear Effect 2?
There's no helicopter in Fear Effect.
Yes, there is. It's a gunship, and you're playing as Glas, and he has to run across the rooftop.
That's not a helicopter. That's a VTOL.
Of course,
it's like a Harrier. I was going to say there's definitely no helicopter.
No, it's a helicopter in the same way that G-Police is a helicopter.
Yes,
isn't it?
it's like a Harrier jump jet. It's a VTOL airplane.
So anyway, it wasn't until that part happened that I was like, oh shit, yeah, this was a big deal. The fact that the background animated and all these things happened. And then once I noticed it again and remembered that that was the thing, it's just quite endearing, isn't it? I mean, it's just, there was definitely nothing like it at the time. I don't think it's really been tried again since. And in the gap between, I think, you think this came out 2000, the sequel 2001, we're very quickly into PS2 territory where you don't need to do stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
Because you just have animated backgrounds.
There is one other game that I can think of that does a very similar thing, which is Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah?
Yeah. Quite often the backgrounds in 7 were very much like fixed, more like Resident Evil, just like an image.
Yes.
But Final Fantasy VIII, in a lot of the backgrounds in that, there is stuff moving around and stuff animated.
We should also mention really that in Fear Effect, the characters are cel-shaded, so they are supposed to pop against the background. That's why they went for a cel-shaded art style, because they wanted it to not get muddy with the background. They wanted it to really pop out. And I quite like it. I quite like the two things together. I think it looks pretty cool.
I think it looks great. I think if you could get just a slight upscale on the backgrounds and a bit of like smoothing and modern graphic style, a proper remake of the game would look amazing.
Yeah.
Which we'll come on to later with the port to Steam that came out last year.
Spoilers, it was not HD. So yeah, as we were saying, the game is Resident Evil in terms of the structure, more combat-y. I'd say even more combat-y than Resident Evil 3. It's very combat heavy. I forgot how combat heavy it was.
Oh, it's very much an action game.
Yeah. It takes inspiration from the Tomb Raider series as well, with some very cool dual wielding things where the characters, because there is more than one, point their guns at two different enemies at the same time.
If they're able to.
Good point, yeah. Spoiler. And the game is very story-based. It's very conversation heavy. It's driven very much by its story.
Some would say cinematic almost.
I mean, let's say that, shall we?
You bang on about Metal Gear Solid ruining games. This is more of a movie than anything else.
I completely disagree.
Oh, you're so wrong. Do you know what I'd liken it to the most?
What's that?
I think of it more as a kind of action-based point-and-click adventure.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, picking up items and going to puzzles and solving them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, there's the odd little bit of combat or whatever, or a lot of combat in some sequences, but it feels more like a point-and-click adventure to me.
Yeah.
And it's like a broken sword with guns and ghosts.
Yeah. You have the inventory, and the inventory is live. You don't pause to access your inventory. It continues whilst you're playing, which can be a bit of a prick later on, especially in the second game. But you collect stuff, and then it's very much, a lot of the puzzles are lock and key, with the key not always being a key and the lock not always being a lock. You take one thing to another thing, put them together, and hey presto, a door opens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on. There are some other puzzles that are more interesting. There are some puzzles that are less interesting, but generally speaking, there is a lot of that going on. And I completely agree. I think it is probably closer in gameplay to a point and click game than it is to a Resident Evil game.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from it.
And in the sequel, which you haven't played, there is parts of it that are so based around inventory and collecting things and interacting with other things. And I think because of that nature of the puzzle, it does start to feel a bit more Resident Evil-y, because they get quite complex. But it's still just having this inventory full of stuff and trying to figure out what to do with it.
No greasy tissue in this one. Should probably mention this. The setting is very much based on Chinese afterlife mythology.
Yes.
Sort of becomes more prevalent later, but as an overall thing,
yeah,
it's there from almost the start.
It was John Zerplatten, who's apparently known as JZP, probably JZP, isn't he? JZP, which, I mean, just John would probably be easier to say. I think it was him that was sort of very interested in that side of things and brought it into the story. And it is quite in depth with it, isn't it? There's lots of stuff in there, and it is all legitimate Chinese mythology. And it's I would say the highlight of the game.
It's definitely a big part of it, and it does a lot with it as well.
Stanley Liu was from Hong Kong originally.
Right.
He's sadly dead now. He died quite young. I mean, he died in his 40s. So God bless you, Stanley. He was the director, artist, and writer of Fear Effect 2 because John Zerplatten had moved on. He's okay with it. He thinks the game's good, John Zerplatten. He was like, yeah, I liked it. Worked well. Yes, it's set in Hong Kong in the future. And despite, you think in 2001, Hong Kong had only been Chinese again for, 97, wasn't it? It went back.
Yeah, a few years.
So not very long. So it's interesting that that's the takeaway. I think it really uses that setting in general very well, this sort of futuristic Blade Runner-esque, quite cyberpunky version of a city in the future in the early levels, and then goes into other parts of mythology as the game evolves and goes through different settings. And I genuinely think for somebody who always bangs on about how story is irrelevant and how, gameplay is everything, the story in the background and the setting of this game are by far the best thing about it.
You prick. Been waiting weeks for that moment.
I would even go as far to say that one of the things that I noticed most about it playing it through again was how great the dialogue is.
Yes.
Really well written.
Really well written. Characters are really good, really fleshed out, interesting. Yeah. They're not just paper cutouts. As a reference. Yeah, they're not just two-dimensional, boring, lifeless characters. And the voiceover work is generally very good as well.
It is, yeah. I think with the exception of there's an Australian character in it called Deke, who is, I doubt he's really Australian.
No, he's an American called Anthony DeLongis. And he's a weapon master that teaches everyone in Hollywood to use whips.
Okay, so I won't say anything bad about Anthony.
He taught Michelle Pfeiffer when she was Catwoman to use a whip.
Really?
Pretty sure he probably taught Harrison Ford on Indiana Jones.
That's cool. It's like proper... Like, cool, blimey, Sheila. What's going on, love?
It is poor.
It is like...
I can only imagine it was a paycheck. Why not just make him another nationality?
Why not make him American if that's the voiceover guy you've got? It makes zero difference to the... I guess they're trying to make it international, aren't they? And I guess that's part of the futuristic thing and them coming together and all that sort of stuff. But for God's sake, I think he's actually played by two different actors in later games.
They all are.
Are they?
Yeah, I don't think any of the original voice cast came back for the second one. Oh, fuck, what's her name? The main character in it?
Hana.
Hana is definitely voiced by somebody else. I'm pretty sure Glas is as well.
Glas I actually noticed was.
Yeah.
And Deke, I didn't notice that Hana was.
Yeah, I checked.
Which brings us on to the characters. There are 3 playable characters in this game, 4 in the sequel. Hana, who's really the main character, and Glas, who is an American ex-military guy, and Deke. Something Decor, isn't it, his name that they call him?
They do have full names, but that's pretty much what they're referred to as all the time. Yeah,
and they are sort of this motley crew of people who are trying to kidnap the daughter of a triad leader for a quick payday. Easy in and out job, as all stories start.
Well, ostensibly, they are a competent mercenary group.
Yeah.
When the game starts, they're quite obviously good at what they do.
Yep.
So, it's an absolute clusterfuck of things going wrong for them on this. It's the mission where it all goes wrong, basically.
Yeah. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's like the Reservoir Dogs. It's like there's a bunch of people that come together to do a job and it all happens just to go tits up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get to play as each of them in turn in quite clever ways. Quite often you'll spend quite a long time playing as one and then it will switch to another one at a different point and you'll see similar areas of the game from a different perspective. I think it works really well. I'm quite fond of it.
There's a section on disc 2. It's 4 discs in case we haven't already mentioned it. And each one is like a chapter chapter in its own right, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
And there's a bit in chapter 2 where Deke and Hana are having a conversation, and it literally control goes from one to the other and kind of flows really naturally out of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was brilliant the way it did that.
Completely. I think it handles it better in the first game than the second game. I mean, I might as well put it out there. The second game's not as good as the first game. It's bigger, it's better looking, it's longer, it's harder, longer and harder and better looking. And yet somehow not as satisfying.
Yeah.
I will have my moment to talk about Retro Helix, which is the prequel game released just a year later. Later on, I don't want to get into it too much now, but I'll just put it out there just to, spoilers ahead. It's not as good as Sphere Effect. Give you a quick overview of the story, because the story is quite strong in the game and it serves as good motivation.
Basic overall story is that you've got these 3 mercenaries. They're supposed to be retrieving the daughter of a triad leader, I think he is, like a rich, powerful Chinese family. They may or may not be gangsters. Definitely are. Turns out this guy doesn't actually want his daughter being found by these people, so it doesn't go well straight away. You realise she's not there, so you get out of this building at the end. It starts to build the story of, we've got to go down river to this place called Madam Chen's, and then for no reason whatsoever, they get rammed off the road into the water by another car that's never explained, or nothing ever really comes from that. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, no, I think that the model of that car was a Deus Ex Machina.
So you start the second chapter. They're on a riverboat going down river to find this restaurant. Fan service ensues because the female character is wearing a towel for this entire, well, not this entire section, but most of it.
So here's the thing, just to interject here, but I don't want to go too off base with the story recap. But I have always, and I mean always, so 2000, how old was I in 2000?
25.
25. I've always thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there is fan service there, but I have always thought that it was funny that you do that entire section wielding twin handguns, wearing just a towel. And it should be stated, what is doubly funny, for some reason the only shoes she's got to hand is a pair of kitten heels. Very bizarre. But yes, carry on. It's probably the most famous thing about the first game.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think, yeah.
You end up in a little fishing village and it's zombies from the get-go. You start to then find out that the girl you're looking for has supernatural abilities that turn people into sort of demony zombie things. You kill a shitload of people, shitload of zombies, and then get on a train, which is full of weapons and blows up. Well, it doesn't blow up, it falls off a bridge, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Another interjection from me. The puzzle to start the train.
Yes.
Best puzzle in the game?
Well, the easiest.
Well, you say that. You use a guide for all of them.
No, there's a hint to it.
I know there's a hint to it, but I think it's a really well-constructed hint.
Yeah, it's different. The fact that it's right next to the thing you have to press.
Yeah. Yeah. There are, in fact, 2 clues to it right next to the thing you have to press, rather than you having to run around the level finding the thing to put into the thing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the written part of the clue is very clever. Anyway,
so disc 3 starts in, well, it's a brothel, isn't it?
yes.
It's not a restaurant at all. You end up in this brothel that it turns out Hana, the main character, used to work at, because that's their way in.
Yeah.
And then starts to go a little bit freaky around this point, because for the most part you're killing like Yakuza guys.
Oh, and then zombies.
Yeah, then there's a plot switch, and it's not, I wouldn't say at that point there's zombies, they're more sort of demons.
No. Yes.
Especially the hookers that turn into like succubus looking demons. They're quite cool. I like that bit. But yeah, the whole supernatural thing really starts to ramp up. And at the end of that bit, you effectively descend into hell.
I mean, not effectively. You do. You literally.
You do and you don't. There is a line later on that changes how that all works.
Oh, that's interesting.
So anyway, you go into disc 4, which is quote unquote hell. There's loads of really, really good, proper Chinese mythology references and characters in there. That's really, really good. And then you fight basically Satan, Chinese Satan at the end.
What is his name? Lao something.
Yim Lao Wong. He's one of the kings of hell.
Oh, is he?
Traditionally.
Oh,
he's not the overall king of hell. He's one of 10 kings of hell.
Fucking hell.
And there are references in the game to the other levels of hell. There's a bit where you first sort of really properly meet him. Yeah. He's on a large sort of circular stage and there are 10 rings around the edge of it. There's loads of little bits that if you don't know the background of, and I had to look up the background of as I was playing this to learn it, it's genius. Some of the stuff that's in there, it's throwaway, but it's not necessarily important, but it has a background.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it feels legitimate's probably the wrong word, but it does feel like it's done with some consideration. It generally feels like it's important to whoever wrote the game.
Yeah. I would say as well, it doesn't feel like cultural appropriation like the Tomb Raider games tend to. Like they'll take an element of one culture, like, oh, Egyptians, yeah, pyramids, and that's it. They don't really delve into it at all. This is stuck true to its source.
Yeah.
If this had come out now, I would quite cynically say, oh, it's clearly been made for the Chinese market. And it's been made by a Chinese company, but it isn't and it wasn't.
No, not at all. I think it helps the game to stand out against, at the time, there were a lot of Resident Evil clones because obviously Resident Evil was massively successful. And so a lot of this sort of game came out. It's its point of difference, really, isn't it? It's the thing that separates it from all those. When you are in the brothel as Hana, there is another outfit change where she basically
dresses as a whore.
Yeah, she changes into basically a blue lame bikini of sorts. Did you know that once you're in that outfit, you can walk around and not be bothered by the guards?
Yeah, you can stealth kill all of them with a knife.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
I thought that straight away, because as soon as I started running around in that, I thought, oh, I better put the gun away because I can probably just walk past everybody. And then when I realised I could do that, I thought, well, I can stealth kill them all as well and get all their ammo.
Yeah. No, I completely forgot. I remember doing it when I first played it, but I completely forgot in the game. So I was just running around fucking machine gunning every motherfucker in there. Very, very combat heavy game.
Very combat heavy game.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about how the combat works?
I thought it was a bit clunky with the aiming.
Yeah.
I would have liked just an aim button.
Well, okay.
I mean, it effectively does that anyway if you're in any way sort of pointing at the person. If you're a little bit off to one side, it'll still kind of aim at the person you're aiming at. And like you said, if you're dual wielding weapons, it can aim independently at two different targets. There's a little target reticule that comes up when you're aiming at someone. But I would have thought just hold a back button to aim would have been better, I think.
I think that the target reticule that Dave talks about is basically an icon that flashes at the top of the screen when you're aimed at somebody, auto aimed at somebody. And it's got a big feel of afterthought about it to me.
Also turns red when you can stealth kill someone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got, I mean, it works. It completely works, but it's got that definitely a hint of a play tester going, I wasn't entirely sure when I was locked onto somebody, and then I wasn't entirely sure when I was close enough to stealth kill, and they went, oh yeah, and came up with, and it works. It's a bit clunky.
Yeah,
and I think, to be fair, clunky in a not horrible way kind of sums up a fair bit of the game.
Yes, a lot of the game.
Janky is what we call it in modern parlance. I say that far too often.
Yeah, things like running up to something to interact with. You can stand facing a door, but if you're not exactly facing the handle, you don't get the prompt to open it.
Yeah, and you like run down a corridor, and if you run down the right of the corridor, it will change to a different viewpoint, but if you run down the left side of the corridor, it won't, so you won't know that there's something that you should be interacting with. Like a stairway.
Yeah, I know a lot about that. I ran around the brothel section of it for an hour trying to look for a doorway or a stairway or something. And when I eventually found it, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I just needed to be on that side of the corridor.
It pleases me so much to hear you say that. If you've listened to the podcast for any amount of time before, you will be aware I have a horrendous sense of direction.
Yeah, you must have struggled like hell playing these games.
Oh, that brothel really fucked me off. To be fair, generally speaking, I did all right.
Yeah.
But the brothel was the thing. It was really fucking like, Oh my God. And there's one point where there's two doors that are very close together. And because of what you were just saying, where you have to point directly at one, sometimes I thought I was opening one door and I was actually opening the other door. And it completely fucked with my brain for so long.
Yeah.
It must be something about the fixed cameras. Thinking to the Resident Evil games, that's not something I really struggled with them either. Were you shocked by... There were two things that happened to the other two characters. So spoilers.
Massive spoilers.
Massive spoilers, even more than when we normally say spoilers. So Glas, first of all, quite brutally and out of pretty much nowhere, gets his arm chopped off.
Yeah.
Obviously, having played the game before, I knew it was coming. So I can't remember how I reacted when I first saw it, but it did feel like it was properly out of nowhere and a big surprise, and a bit of a fuck moment.
Yeah, it was quite a shock when it happens. I did find myself laughing to myself though, and just quoting Shaun of the Dead. Oh, he's got an arm off.
It's a good line he does as well, because it's the big triad boss that does it, and he's talking about his daughter, and he says something along the lines of, "You're trying to separate me from my flesh, so I'm going to separate you from yours," and just literally whops his arm off in one go. It's very cool.
It is brutal as well.
Yeah,
and he's laying there screaming while the Chinese guy's saying all this as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. There's something quite, because of the quality, I think, of most of the acting and of the script in general, it does feel a bit dark, genuinely dark. And poor old Deke, they kill him off by ramming his head on a spike.
No, he's already dead at that point.
Oh, yes, of course he is.
Madam Chen, the brothel owner, who turns out to be a sort of succubus-style demon, basically slits his throat with a hand claw thing.
That's right. Yeah.
And then, throws him through a skylight, and he lands on the spike of a statue, which gouges his face in half. Do you know what that bit reminded me of?
Oh, was it? Stop, because I know this is one of your favourite things. Rob Roy?
Oh, no, but now you mention it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Very similar thing. Very, very similar thing. No, there's a bit in Resident Evil 2 where you meet the guy in the prison cell, and he gets infected with like a parasite from what's his name? Barkin.
Oh, yeah.
What turns out to be like the tyrant from the game, basically. And there's a bit where it bursts out of him and it splits him sort of at the collarbone down to like his waist.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that. But yeah, there's a bit in Rob Roy where Liam Neeson cuts Tim Roth in half in a very similar fashion.
I guess there's Terminator 2 as well, isn't there? There's a bit like that in Terminator 2.
Oh, with the T-1000, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, very brutal death.
But not the last we see of either of them.
It isn't. Glas survived his arm off, and possibly in part because the guy hangs him up in a freezer.
Yeah, meat locker.
You get to play as him later in the game, and he can't obviously dual wield anymore.
I thought that was a great touch. I love that.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's a game that very clearly has a sort of quality and love put into it. It's one of the reasons the review that I read on Eurogamer really annoyed me, because they talk about how, again, spoilers for the very, very end of the game, if you get the best ending, everything is put back right. Deke comes back to is alive, and Glas has his arm back. And this was referenced in this review as poor continuity. He had his arm back, even though, and it's just like, for fuck's sake, pay attention.
I didn't see the quote unquote good ending, so
yeah,
I don't know what actually happens in that.
It's basically that they emerge from the rubble of the building, and Glas has got his arm back, and Deke is alive, and they sort of basically let this hobo it off into the distance. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Interesting, with Fear Effect 2, it obviously ends with them setting up for Fear Effect 1 because it's a prequel, and it sets up because of this. There's another character in Fear Effect 2 called Rain, and it sets up that she won't be there, and it makes some references to how this next job's going to be a walk in the park, and it's quite, it's a nice ending. It ties it in quite well.
Does she die?
No,
because obviously she's not in Fear Effect.
No, I don't mind giving it away because spoilers everywhere in this episode. Hana and Rain
they're lovers, aren't they?
They are in a relationship of some sort. It's never really explicitly stated. It's very heavily implied, quite often in not a particularly mature way.
Subtle.
Yeah, subtle is a great way of putting it. But it is also, there is obviously, I think still, the fact that they very much care for each other is part of their story, and that's good. That works. And as a motivation, it works. And because at the end of the game they think this is just going to be a simple snatch and grab, and she is the tech computer hacker type character, they're like, no, you're staying at home.
Oh, okay. It's that simple.
She's in danger. She is a big part of that first story. She's almost the MacGuffin of the story. And it's pretty much as it develops, gets to the end, and it's just like, you are not going to be needed. This is a very simple job. So you're staying home. I tell you what, we'll get into this now. So Fear Effect 2, the Chinese elements aren't as well implemented. They're there, but they feel a lot more perfunctory, I think is a good word for it. And the plot in general, it has that feeling of it's kind of creeping along, and then you get to the last act and it goes, and then there's all this stuff you didn't know about before, and it completely changes everything, and it's just it seems shoddy. So up to that point there's been hints and little references to things, but nothing of any great consequence. And then at the end it's like, oh, there was your mother, and there was twins, and there was Rain's got a twin, and she's called Mist, and then one is bad and one is good, and it's just like, for fuck's sake. And it really does feel like this. And this is after a sequence of some of the most brutally frustrating puzzles I've ever played in a video game. And so at this point, you're just like, can we get to the end of the game, please? So whereas in Fear Effect you fight one of the 10 kings of hell, in Fear Effect 2 you fight all 8 of the guardians of hell.
Oh, right.
And it's a puzzle followed by a boss fight every single time, and you just have enough of it. It goes on way too long. It's a real struggle. And yeah, there's a couple of points in the game where it's a little bit too much like hard work. There's a picture bit where you've got to figure out a gene sequence and put it onto a disc so you can take it to somebody else, but first you've got to do something else with it. And this is all explained to you in a very long cutscene with a bloke talking at you, and you're just like, yeah. And then you don't have it to refer to what you got to do. That there's no like checking your inventory for a notebook or anything like that. You just have to try and fucking remember it from the cutscene you weren't paying any attention to, because it's not as well written as the first game was. You end up just going to a room, finding the thing in the room that you can interact with, and just going through your inventory, going, that don't work. Oh, that works. That's apparently the thing that I have to do here, which triggers a puzzle, and then you do the puzzle, and then you move on to the next thing. It's just not as well made. It's not as, I know you've got opinions about the puzzles in Fear Effect, but I felt here they were definitely not as interesting, definitely not as thoughtfully constructed, and just really fucking frustrating. There's a puzzle where you have to play a tune on some floor tiles.
Right.
And what Fear Effect 2 does, because of the one thing we haven't mentioned about Fear Effect, is it's very much instant death, Fear Effect. If you get something wrong, you will die. Fear Effect 2 isn't as often. But you have, it's probably a 5x6 grid on the floor, and you have to, like other puzzles in this game, involve similar grids where all you've got to do is figure out the right path to the other side of the grid. This one, you have to walk around the grid playing the notes to like a 6-chime tune, whilst only a few of the tiles you can actually walk on, and you've got no direct reference to what the tune was.
That sounds great.
Other than, again, Hana singing it briefly in a cutscene you weren't paying attention to because you're so fucking bored of the cutscenes by this point. It's horrendous. One of the worst puzzles I've ever played in a video game ever.
Really? That bad?
I think it might be the point when I played this originally in 2001, I stopped playing the game.
Yeah.
There is a good puzzle in Fear Effect 1 that Dave hates earlier in the game where you're playing as Deke.
It's not early in the game. That's the start of disc 3.
Is it?
Yeah.
So there's a grid of glass.
It's a glass roof.
Yeah. There is only a route across it. And if you are patient and you just wait for a couple of turns of the animation to play, it's very easy. It really is very easy. But if you're Dave, apparently not so much.
I thought I figured it out. Basically, it's what? an 8x8 grid, I think.
Something like that.
Sort of looks like a chessboard to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's basically, if you leave the animation running, there's like a spotlight that highlights cracks in some of the tiles.
Yeah.
Which one it shows are few and far between, so you have to wait for it to scan through and show all of them. And I noticed that there was one that was unbroken. That's where I started. I didn't realise that when that path ends, before the end of the thing, it's a dead end. So there's a red herring dead end to this fucking floor puzzle. Which,
a literal dead end as well, because it's instant death. So
I played it not exclusively, but mostly with save states. And some of the puzzles, I put myself into an infinite loop of death. We've obviously talked about my failings at this game, which I'm not proud of, but I got through it. I'm happy that I got through it because I did enjoy the overall experience once a lot of the issues were worked out.
You played it through with a guide for the puzzles, right?
For some of the puzzles, not all of them.
Okay, good.
I basically had a guide open, and if I needed to refer to it, I referred to it.
I think that's good, because I think sometimes there are the best puzzles in the game do that thing where you're like, right, got it. And I get it now. And if you immediately refer to a guide as soon as you hit a puzzle, you're going to miss out on enjoying the good puzzles. But I can completely understand getting past the bad ones. For the first game, I didn't look at a guide at all.
Yeah.
Some of them I even remembered bizarrely. But that's, 25 years ago. Fear Effect 2, as I say, towards the end, there is no way. There is no way in the world I would ever have figured out that music floor puzzle. If you're out there and you are, or you know of somebody who did that puzzle without looking at a guide, I want to hear from you, because honestly, it's just insanely difficult. Just bonkers. Were a guide as readily available as they are now, I probably would have picked one up and looked at it.
Yeah. I think a lot of the frustration with the puzzles that I found was the instant death when you fail.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, it wasn't 5 seconds after a save point where you could save the game.
Oh, I don't know. I think
there's no real checkpoint. Well, there is no checkpoint system to the game. If you die, you have to reload a saved game.
Yeah, I think it's quite generous with save points.
I think it is and it isn't. I mean, I suppose a lot of modern games will give a checkpoint system just before like a major plot point or a major puzzle or a boss or whatever. And I kind of was expecting that, because it's not unheard of back then. Like a lot of RPGs, a lot of puzzle games would give you the ability to save just before something like a puzzle that will end in instant death.
Yeah, I must admit, I feel like Fear Effect does okay. I think it's put into stark relief. If you were to play the original Tomb Raider versus one of the modern Tomb Raiders, like one of the modern Tomb Raider games from the last 3 games that came out, that sequel, what do they call it, the Origin series or some shit like that, those games, because it's not like save points or anything like that, it's just instant restart. You die, you start on the section that you just died on.
Yeah,
it completely takes away any risk reward. It's like the problem we had with Metal Slug. The one thing that's wrong with the Metal Slug games is when you die, there is no punishment. The punishment is 50p. So when you're playing on a console, there is no punishment.
Yeah.
And I think modern games do that far too often. And I think Fear Effect, the frequency of the save states most of the time is about right. Because I save stated, but I save stated at the save points. And I did that because the loading time for the official saves is fucking slow.
Yeah.
I mean, slow by modern standards. I doubt it even registered at the time, but I reckon it probably takes a good 20 seconds, 30 seconds for the level to reload after you've died. So to try and recreate the whole risk reward thing, I would only save state where I could save in game, and I never really felt like there was any point where I was having to do a lot of what I'd done before again. I think maybe on the zombie level there was a couple of points that felt like that, but generally speaking I think it's pretty good. And Resident Evil, fucking hell, Fear Effect 2 is even more generous, and it allows you to turn on an indicator of where the save points are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
If they're tucked away in the corner of a level, then you can see that they're there. So that's, I think, probably even more generous with its save points. But that doesn't matter when your puzzles are impossibly fucking hard, does it? I would recommend, if you're listening to us, there is a website called relyonhorror.com, and they have an interview from just a few years ago, 2022, with both the artist and John Zerplatten. About Fear Effect. Good interviews, very worthwhile, and it also means that those are two people who I will be trying to contact, because if they're open for interviews, then who knows, we might be able to get them on. And the artist talks about Stanley, and so I was a bit weirded out, not weirded out, I was a bit confused because there is no Stan credited on Fear Effect, but it turns out it's one of the producers, and so he brought in John Zerplatten to sort of take on the project with that already in place. And Stan was brought up in Hong Kong and was, like I am, fascinated with Kowloon Walled City, which is a place that doesn't exist anymore, and was this crazy place near Hong Kong, which was just like tower blocks upon tower blocks upon tower blocks, and there was no, it got to the point where the police wouldn't even go in it, where they basically, people took their power from somewhere else just by splashing into it. It just looks insane. There's a couple of films, I think there's a Shaw Brothers film called Brothers from the Walled City, and there's a recent another martial arts film which is excellent, set in the Walled City as well, which kind of give a good impression of what it may have been like, but obviously with a bit more actiony. It's just a fascinating place, and apparently Stanley Liu, R.I.P. Stanley Liu, by the way, was inspired by it as well. So that's quite interesting. The series was set to continue with a game called Fear Effect Inferno.
Yes, the unmade threequel.
Yes, PlayStation 2. Lots and lots of video available from it, but all cutscenes. There's no gameplay footage anywhere of how it was going to work. Looks like quite an interesting concept. Reminded me, I'm going to find the right name just in case. Season 6, episode 17 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
What? Where is this going?
I love it when you say that. It's called Normal again, and the entire episode is possibly from the point of view of Buffy in a mental home, finding out that she has hallucinated her entire life and the entire show up until that point.
Right, okay, I gotcha.
And so it looks like Fear Effect Inferno might have been going in a similar direction. Hana is in a mental asylum, and looks like some of that stuff is going on. And it looks really interesting. It looks like, certainly story-wise, it's a new direction, but certainly a quite an interesting one. But I mean, obviously we've got no idea how it would have played. Apparently there's talk of there being a love triangle between Hana, Glas and Rain, which just sounds completely out of character. That sounds
forced.
Yeah, out of character, forced, wrong, all that sort of shit. Really playing on. And I think it's one of the things in Fear Effect 2 that Fear Effect 2 is a bit icky about. It is the parts, there are times when it feels like there is under the surface a genuine relationship there, and there are parts where it just feels like complete fan service. And it's all a little bit, there's girls and they're kissing.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, and it feels like they were leaning into that even more with Inferno, which again, shame. But yeah, Inferno never really got anywhere. Basically, it was pulled. The first trailer was released in 2002. So that was only a year after the second game release. So it was in pretty short order. And then it kind of just disappeared. And later on, various cutscenes have emerged. And again, it does look interesting. And then, like almost a decade later, there was talk of Fear Effect reinvented. And Fear Effect reinvented as a cover shooter because it was the era of the Xbox 360 and it looks terrible. The footage that was shown was obviously very early. You can tell that from the sort of the impact splash against characters and things is identical in every shot. So it's clearly very early footage, but it is very clearly a cover shooter. So I thought to myself, because I have no filter internally, that given Hannah's background, it could have been called Gears of Whore.
Oh. Or Call Girl of Duty.
Ah, fucking hell. Any others in the comments, please. It just looks really generic and shit. It just looks like every other. And the thing is, this is 2013, I think this was. So
17.
2017. So cover shooters were, or everyone was already bored of cover shooters by 2017. It's just such a weird direction to take a game like this in. Yes, the games were combat heavy, but they were not just combat, and they certainly just weren't cover combat. Very bizarre choice. Cancelled again.
Not actually announced that it was cancelled for like another 6 years either.
No, it was ages and ages, yeah.
They probably canned it after like 6 months, and then a few years later somebody thought, oh shit, we never told anybody. Somebody probably asked them a question at some game show and they're like, what? I've never heard of that game. Have a quick look.
And then even after that, there was Fear Effect Sedna, a game which did actually get released in 2018.
It's not well liked, is it, by fans?
Square Enix acquired the license to Fear Effect, and they were doing a thing at the time which was kind of a bit like Kickstarter, where they were basically saying to people, if you've got a good idea of what we can do with this IP, pitch it to us and we'll give you some money. And we will basically promote your Kickstarter and your funding for the game. And so that's what happened with Fear Effect. This company, Sushee, Sushee, did exactly that and got backing from promotional backing, really, is what all they got from Square Enix, and financial backing from the Kickstarter, which wasn't a lot of money. I've got a funny feeling it was like 400 grand.
And the total pledge in the end was 107,000. So only just made it.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I would like that money, please. But if I was trying to make a game, I would want some more, please. It really shows that this game did not cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, 2018 wasn't a massive amount of time ago, and £100,000 was not a lot of money. And there's clearly passion for the characters and the world of Fear Effect. It does move from Chinese mythology to Inuit mythology, which is interesting but different.
That's an untapped resource.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that it's quite interesting, but it just doesn't really work. And it's a game that's just got a lot of ideas and doesn't do any of them very well. It's isometric perspective, but it's not turn-based or in any way sort of leaning into that isometric perspective. It's still just mostly an action game. You can pause the game and do things like team up attacks and set up what happens next, but it all feels a bit scrappy, and it really feels like a game that had like really big ideas and had to scale back, rather than a game that had one good idea that it might have been able to make work if it had focused on it. It also looks horrible.
Is it?
In play, it looks okay, but it very much, there's things like the characters move around objects weirdly and the animation is quite stiff, and it's got everything. If you saw a video of this game being played, you would think it was a turn-based game. You genuinely would, or a tactics shooter or something like that.
It's got the look of like Fallout Tactics or one of the old Baldur's Gate games or something like that.
Yeah, so I like a good turn-based tactics game, and they use an isometric layout really well, but it just doesn't work. It's a shooter game with some slow-paced stuff sort of stuck on, and the cutscenes are, if they came out today, I promise you everybody would say it was AI slop. They are so basic, they're completely devoid of character. Very, very simple illustrations, and it's horrible to say because it's a tiny company, a tiny group of people that made this, and they've clearly got love for the source material, but it's just bad. I'm sorry. I mean, and to be fair, it doesn't. When you play it, it's not awful. To be fair, it's not like for example, Game Informer gave it 2 out of 10. It's no way near a 2 out of 10. It's not that 2 out of 10 is fucking Duke Nukem Forever. Do you know what I mean? It's middling. It's a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's not awful. There's nothing wrong with it really. It's just everything about it feels a bit flat and boring and doesn't really engage. It's a struggle.
It's a shame because it's probably killed the series, hasn't it?
100%, yeah. And if you were involved in it and you listen to us, because you never know, please don't take it personally. I'm sure that the limitations were not on your ability and passion, more on what you can do for $100,000 in 2018. And that's it. As Dave mentioned, that's the end of the series. That's as far as it went. It's not been heard of before or since. I think it could be a success if it came back now. I think right now there is a swell in single player games. People are getting exhausted by games as a service and those endless sorts of games that have been very popular for the last few years, and story-based games and that sort of thing is coming back. So I reckon Square Enix, pull your finger out, tell you what to do, sell your IP to Devolver Digital, and they can get a properly creative bunch of people to make a really good game out of this IP, because it's got something about it, Fear Effect. It's got that little bit of something different that so many games don't have these days. So when I moved on, you seem to think we needed to talk more about Fear Effect.
I've got shit tons of notes of things that we haven't covered.
In terms of Fear Effect, I think what we've talked about, I think most of the things that resonated with me. There are some others, but if you've got lots of notes, let's go through your notes, because you're probably going to pick up on them.
So one of the things we haven't mentioned is the sort of variety of the enemies in the game. So you've got very sort of standard goon type mob guys at the start.
Yeah.
Then it switches to zombies. Then it switches to mob guys, hookers as demons, and yeah, goes a bit nuts from there. And then in hell, you've got these odd sort of ghosts, very traditional looking Chinese ghosts with long tongues.
Yes.
But there's also these weird sort of very sort of stretched, thin figures with like sickles in their hands that will sort of jump up and down behind you or to the side of you. They're a bit of a pain in the ass. There's a great section where you're Deke on like the beams of a big building, and first time you see these guys, and you're just like, what the fuck is that? They're quite easy to kill though, because you just point and shoot.
Well, I think there's a bit of trial and error, because without ever telling you what, certain enemies are more affected by certain bullets. To be fair, sort of 6 times out of 10, it's the shotgun. Go for the shotgun.
It's whatever you've got.
But, yeah, there is that in it. I was really pleased to see. I know from films and from Widdy when we played not Pocket Fighters. Fuck me, I'm doing that again. Super Puzzle Fighter, Hsien Ko, that sort of Chinese ghost.
Yes.
They bounce around with their arms out in front of them that are quite pointy, and those are in the game. And as far as I can tell, I couldn't kill them. I think they might be indestructible.
Okay.
I certainly ran away from them every time I encountered them.
You can definitely kill them.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I did.
I imagine, again, it's one of those, you need, there is a weapon that's more effective than the others, and rather than try and figure that out, I just ran the fuck away.
Similar to in Resident Evil, a lot of the times you can just run past these enemies and save your ammo, but they drop ammo as they die.
Yeah.
So if it takes 5 shots to kill someone and you're going to get 10 shots from it, might as well kill it.
Yeah, no, as we mentioned before, it's a game that is not stingy on the ammo front.
Yeah, but also brilliantly, in the final act, when you're in hell, they don't drop ammo. They drop a little paper, also a facsimile of ammo, which you have to burn to make real. Oh, that's fantastic.
This is one of the things that I was hoping you were going to mention, because it's such a great thing. It's born out of this idea that I think in the earthly realm generally, if you want to send a gift to somebody in the underworld, you make a paper model of it and burn it. You make an effigy out of paper and you burn it, and that sends it to them in the underworld. So then, because you're in the underworld, you have paper things, and so you get paper bullets. So you get pick up bullets, you can do fuck all with them, but you take them to a flame, in one particular flame, despite there being lots of other flames around, and that kind of gets on my tits.
There are a few you can do it at.
Yeah, but there are flames that you can't do it at.
There are flames you can't do it at, but there isn't only one. But weirdly enough, there is a thing you have to pick up, which is a key, and you can only burn it at 1.
As we said before, a little bit of jank here and there, but it's a great thing, isn't it? That picking up the paper bullets and burning them, it's one of the things that stuck in my mind from the first time I played the game. I just think it's so clever, and again, it just shows that there's substance behind these references to Chinese mythology. So paper stuff, we both agree, was very cool. What else you got?
I was a little bit disappointed that the assault rifle that you get has a scope on it, which would suggest aiming and firing single shots, like headshots, which would have been really fucking useful, rather than the full auto that allows you to burn through a clip in 5 seconds.
I mean, if you're talking about burning for ammo, then the twin Uzis are almost useless because you burn through the ammo so quick.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun.
They look cool.
Yeah. And Stan Liu, the guy behind the series, was apparently a big John Woo fan. So that's...
Yeah, it makes sense.
It does make perfect sense. And there are other sequences as well, which are very John Woo. There's a point where Glas swings down from a ladder upside down with a gun in each hand to save the day.
Yeah.
Which is very, very John Woo. I did gravitate towards the dual-wielded weapons just because they look cool. And that's you know, we've talked about this before. That's my vibe. I want to look cool doing shit. So I play games, for God's sake.
And this does allow you to look cool while running around shooting at 2 targets independently of each other.
It really does, yeah. And my brain's done a weird sort of segue type thing, but there's obviously that's a bit like Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
There is a sequence in Fear Effect 2 where Hana gets turned into a golden statue of herself, much like the sequence in the original Tomb Raider game.
Ah, yes, the Midas hand.
Yes. To be fair, Tomb Raider does it better, but I think it's a very deliberate and very cool little callback.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I can't see how it can't be, really. Love it. What else you got? Other notes. Dave's notes. Part 3.
So the section on the second disc where it goes from the village of zombies to like a military train complex.
Yes. Of course it does. Yeah, you get the train. Yeah.
Catch up, mate. I really like the fact that they're Chinese soldiers and they shout at you when they're sort of shooting at you and being shot at you, but they shout obviously in Chinese.
Yeah.
And apparently the translations of some of these things are just like fuck and other bits and bobs like that. But it really reminded me of the bit in Die Hard with a Vengeance where the guy says in German to John McClane, "Don't shoot," and then he shoots him and he goes, "Huh, what?" And then the other guy kicks him in the face and says, "He said, don't shoot." Obviously, they're not saying don't shoot. They're saying stuff like, "Die, motherfucker."
Scheist and Fenster. Shoot the glass. Anyway, that's a whole nother game. We've already done that.
Yeah, we're not doing that again.
Yeah, and again, this just plays into the whole thing with Fear Effect and the Chinese setting and all of that sort of stuff just not being taken lightly.
Yeah.
By the team making the game. It's clearly, it's not just, oh, let's set it in China. Oh, look, here's the Great Wall. Tomb Raider looking at you.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a great shout. The world building, I think you would call that, wouldn't you, is really, really good.
It does a great job of its settings, I think, all the way through it. Right at the start of disc 3, just when they're outside the brothel about to go in and Hana sort of reveals that she used to work here. There's a great moment of dialogue and animation where Glas is saying the plan. It's like, okay, the plan is me and Wei Ming are going to go in and we'll try and find whatever it is they're looking for. And Hana sort of butts in and says, "Oh, I'm coming with you." And his response is something along the lines of, "Well, you probably shouldn't do that because they might recognize you. What do you think, Hana?" Like really sarcastically. And the animation of it is great. It's like, no. It really made me chuckle. But it really endeared me to the characters as well. So when the horrific shit happens to them, like, oh, that's a shame. I really liked him.
Yeah.
The script as a whole is very good, I think.
I don't think it gets the appreciation it's deserved. From reading like older reviews at the time, nobody calls it out as a good thing. People tend to focus on the negative. They focus on the fact that Deke's voice actor isn't the best. He's not the worst by a long, long shot. He's better than anything in the first Resident Evil game.
Yeah, definitely.
And like all of the other voice acting is actually really good. And yeah, it just seems a shame. But to me, it's the script and the sort of delivery, particularly from Hana and Glas, that really, as you say, it brings those characters to life and it makes what happens to them genuinely dark.
Yeah, it has impact because you care about them.
They have actual character.
Yeah, the character I liked the most in the whole game was
was it Yin? Jin.
Well, not Jin, his proper character, Yinwao Long.
Yeah.
Turns out in the final act with the big exposition dump cutscene,
Yeah.
that the reason all this shit's been happening is that basically hell is full.
Yeah.
And he's trying to create hell on earth because he can't be bothered to process the admin for new admittance into hell. It's brilliant. It's so funny when you break it down to that sort of level. It's just, he can't be bothered to let anybody else into hell anymore. Going back to what you said about it being hell, Hana says to him during that conversation, oh, blah, 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 something about hell. And he goes, ha, this isn't hell.
That's right.
He goes, this isn't even close to hell, or something along those lines. He does specifically say, this is not hell.
Yes.
This is like the gateway to hell. This is like limbo.
Yeah. No, that's a good shout. Yeah, I must admit I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, which does tie back into, there's two characters that you meet, a black and a white ghost.
Yes, with the tongues out.
Yeah, there are a specific couple of characters in Chinese mythology. They're the ghosts of black and white impermanence.
I think they make that quite clear. And it is a game that makes you on more than one occasion want to go, I want to go and Google that.
Yeah, which is exactly what I did. I had to.
Yeah.
I was like, who are these guys? What do they do? Who are they? Why are they there? Because my first thought was they're yin and yang. The whole black and white sort of opposites of each other, but coming together sort of thing. They're not. They could be confused with it quite easily, but they are what's known as a psychopomp, which is a great word to say. It's basically like a spirit guide, somebody in the afterlife who guides souls onto where they have to go. And that's a great little thing to go to. Just Google psychopomp and see where you end up. Because every single religion almost has a version of it.
Huh.
There's always this character that guides the spirits and the souls onto the next thing. I thought it was really interesting. But yeah, finding the word psychopomp made me find a band called Japanese Breakfast who released an album called Psychopomp.
Did you have anything else on your notes?
Yes, there is a section in the brothel where you switch to Glas and you have to stealth your way through the kitchen.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's a dick puzzle.
Yes. The first, it's a series of puzzles, really, isn't it? So it's a sort of canned series of animations where a bunch of chefs on two sides of a room variously throw things and turn around and speak to each other.
Yeah.
And you basically have to walk or roll through it. Utter bollocks. Pain in the arse. No need for it to be that pointless. But one of the things that really made me laugh about that section was the first time I walked into that, I'd got used to walking into a new screen in the sort of crouch stealth mode.
Yeah.
Just in case. So the first time I ever went in there, I walked in crouched. Okay, yeah, this is what's going on. Here's the sequence of things. Okay, walk and then roll through these. Yeah, got to the second screen because I thought I was out of it and just ran straight into another one and died. The next 3 attempts at that puzzle, I just walked into the room. Because I didn't think to stealth into the room. An instant death. If you didn't know and you hadn't saved it for a few minutes before that, you'd be fucking livid. This is one of those instances where I could save state the game as the animation frame ticks of the death.
It serves you right for cheating, mate.
It does. I do think it's kind of funny, though.
It is, I think, possibly the most immersion-breaking puzzle in the game.
Yeah, it's not good.
Unless you're in like the direct line of sight between two people, they cannot see you.
Yes. There may as well be floor tiles on the floor that show exactly at what point they can see you.
And the floor tiles that Dave is mentioning, I mean, those are like 1.5 feet square. It's like these guys have got no peripheral vision whatsoever.
They're busy, they're cooking.
Yeah, no, it's not a good puzzle.
No.
I didn't find it as frustrating as you did, but I think it sticks in my brain as a particularly bad puzzle in the game.
The thing that really got me about it was the fact that they just go through this never-ending loop of these same animations.
Yeah.
It's just really poorly handled, I thought.
Yeah, because it's bringing the sort of animation loop thing into the foreground of the game rather than the background. Yeah. And when I was playing it, the thing that struck me was I thought, because there is a point where one of them throws something to the other one. And I thought that level would work much better if they were chucking knives to each other.
And you got hit by a knife.
Yeah. Because
yeah.
they could be like super chefs and just chucking the knife over their shoulder without turning around. That would work much better.
Yeah, that would have been quite funny.
Yeah.
It would have been in keeping with some of the deaths you have to suffer through as well.
Yes. The death cutscenes are a thing in the series, and they lean into them. They actually lean into them in Sedna as well, but they lean into them more in 2, and then because in Fear Effect 1 I think they're there, but they're not often graphic. In Fear Effect 2 they're more graphic.
Oh no, they're fairly graphic.
Does anyone get eaten alive by rats?
No,
that's Fear Effect 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Doesn't someone get turned into a gold statue as well? Or is that Fear Effect 1?
Who knows? We'll have to spend some time researching that. To me, Fear Effect, the first game, Fear Effect, is quite well balanced, I think, in terms of things like backtracking and puzzle solving and working things out for yourself. I think it's a fairly well balanced game.
Yeah, I think there's never really any like branching paths.
No.
You've gone down the wrong corridor because you just couldn't remember which corridor to go down.
Yeah.
Or you've gone into the wrong room because you couldn't remember which room was behind which door.
Yeah.
You're not being misled. You just haven't, or I just haven't learned it or remembered it as I'm running around trying to find a staircase that's on the opposite side of the corridor to the side I always run down.
It would be like if you were to go into the puzzle when you're trying to find the secret door, and there's like a puppet of Yim Lao Lom. No.
Yim Lao Wong.
Who you have to press some buttons and he does certain things. If you hadn't gone to all the way in the level, like all the way to the very next door along the same corridor, you wouldn't know what the answer to that puzzle was. I can imagine that might be quite irritating, Dave.
That would be quite irritating, yes. That would be so irritating that you'd write down in your notes, how the fuck are you supposed to solve the puppet puzzle? There's no clue to it whatsoever. And then when you're editing your gameplay footage, you realise that there is a clue to it in the next room. I couldn't believe it when I spotted that. But all of the puzzles are a lot like that. There is a clue, there is a note, there is something that tells you how to do it. There's one in the hell section where there's 5 dragons.
Yes.
And they all represent elements.
Good puzzle.
So fire, earth, air, water, and I think mountain was the last one or something odd.
Heaven.
But yeah, the little characters underneath their statues are laid out on a floor tile. So it's another floor tile puzzle. But the sequence that you have to do it is shown to you in like a mirror. It just brings up pictures of landscape and things. And oh, okay, yeah, I get it. I've seen the glyphs that are on the statues. I know how to do this. Straight for it first go.
Yeah.
Then I went back and did it 14 more times to try and pick up the ammo that's on the very edge of one of those tiles, and you have to be on the pixel perfect to pick it up without triggering the death animation. So I did the puzzle first time, but then went back to get the ammo because I was greedy.
By the way, listeners, you don't have to get that ammo. You could just leave it and not die.
Yeah, you can just walk past it. Those dragons actually have a basis in mythology as well. You won't be surprised to hear.
No, I'm not anymore. Absolutely not.
They are the dragon kings of the 5 regions.
Ah, just going back to the TV and puppet puzzle for a sec. The thing that confused me most about that puzzle is the girl on the TV looks like exactly like Hana.
Yeah, she's dressed in the same clothes.
She's dressed in the same thing, and she's got black hair and the same fringe thing going on. And yeah, that was just...
Oh, the Courtney Cox hairdo.
Yes, exactly that, yeah. and that was, for a while I was just like, what's that about? And I was just sort of stuck in that room going, what's going on with that? Is Hana somewhere being forced to dance? Like, just completely baffled by that whole thing.
But that brings me back to the whole point and click thing. If you go into a room and there's a puzzle to solve, it's usually quite obvious.
Yeah.
But in Fear Effect, quite often you'd walk into a room and there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
There's just a room. But you have to look around. You have to check everywhere to see if a prompt comes up to interact with something. And that's a point and click thing.
100%.
Of moving the cursor over the whole fucking screen to find the one thing that you can interact with.
Yeah. And another thing that there is much more of in Fear Effect 2 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's not clear already, I think so many of the decisions they made on what to double down on in Fear Effect 2 were the wrong things.
Yeah.
They just chose the wrong things. I think they probably, for me, they should have probably have tightened up the combat a bit more because it is basically identical. And I think they should have focused on, there are puzzles in both games that are good, that are satisfying, that you have to work out, and they should really have focused on those two things. I mean, that's the core of the game. If you've got good puzzles and good combat, then you've got a better game. But instead they doubled down on the smuttiness and some fucking inventory management, some poor decisions, which is a shame. But again, I don't want to be too negative. It's genuinely a very good game. It's just not as good as Sphere Effect 1.
Yeah.
And you will have to Google how to beat that puzzle towards the end.
Because you did.
No, because I think it's just impossible without it. I genuinely do. It's just what a bizarre setup.
Yeah.
Any more on your list?
There's a section in Hell where you meet, spoilers, beyond spoilers, a younger version of Hana.
Yeah.
So Hana meets a version of herself, at which point figured out or learns that she was raised in hell, if I remember right, which is very odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I won't go into the whole bit with that thing, but because one of the things I noticed was because all the backgrounds in it are FMV looping, the child that you interact with has her shadow on the wall modelled in the FMV because they know she's going to be there.
Oh, okay.
But your character doesn't cast a shadow because she's not part of the FMV sequence. I was looking at it, I thought, that kind of makes a bit of sense. I like that. The idea that she's not really there or something.
Oh, okay.
I think it's completely accidental and I've read it into it.
Yeah.
If I've read an interview with somebody and they said, oh yeah, we chose for her not to cast a shadow in that sequence because blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'd be totally on board.
Yeah.
I know for a fact it's a limitation of the hardware and you couldn't have shadows at all.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was really good, that little bit. I hated the clock puzzle.
Oh, the clock puzzle's a bitch. Worst puzzle in the first game, I think.
Yeah.
Have I said that about something else already?
No.
No, I think it's the worst.
So.
I think it's the worst puzzle in the first game.
That genuinely has no solution or clue.
Well, it's maths.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just really hard maths.
Right.
It's really difficult, yeah. I can't remember what it is now, but it's like, oh, fuck me. I think he times the numbers together or going round the clock face one way is plus and the other way is minus. It is incredibly hard, but it is solvable.
Obtuse is the word I would use.
Absolutely. And again, I think I might have buckled on this playthrough, but back in the day I finished the game and I definitely never looked it up. So
apparently there is a massive issue with that. If you're playing on an emulator, the characters are numbered 1 to 5, but they're not numbered. They're just like dashes, like tally marks.
Oh, okay.
But 5, instead of having a strike through it like we would do, is just 5 lines. On an emulator, it only shows 4.
Oh,
so you've got 4 twice. I mean, you can tell where it is in the positioning because it's like a dial. It's kind of like an old phone dial.
Yeah,
but yeah. I was reading the guide I was using to get through it. It was like, they can't see the 5th one. It's fucking obvious, mate. It's really obvious.
I think when that guide was written, emulators weren't quite as good as they are now.
I don't know. I think it was on GameFAQs, so it's probably 25 years old.
I was going to say it's probably a year after the game came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's definitely the toughest puzzle in the first game. It's brutal.
Yeah.
One of the great things about Fear Effect 2, again, we keep saying, I said at the beginning, and I will keep saying just in case, but spoilers, that puzzle involves that child, Hana, gradually getting older. So you move this clock around and then you go back and she's a teenager and then she's a woman your same age and then she's an old woman. The old woman version of Hana appears towards the end of the second game.
Oh, okay.
And if you hadn't have played the first game, you wouldn't know who she was. She's just there, but because I was like, I recognise her. So I thought that was a really cool thing. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like that.
Any more?
I've got some notes on boss fights.
They're nearly all shit.
Yep. I quite enjoyed the Deke boss fight in Hell, where you have to run onto the right falling blocks on the floor and then just shoot him. I thought that was quite good fun, actually. I did enjoy that one. There's not a lot to work out.
No.
There's no like real stupid way of figuring it out. It's just, I I just need to be on the right one at the right time, learn the sequence.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the boss fight against Mr. Lamb, who turns into some weird demon thing. So run around, shoot these little demons that he makes appear, and then they drop paper money, which you burn to damage him, because his whole thing is that he's made this deal with the devil to become rich. So you burn his money, and that's what kills him. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
That was a nice little touch. And then I had the misfortune to play as Glas for the last boss fight, and the Wee Ming boss fight is fucking atrocious. Because unless you've got basically as much ammo as you can carry going into that fight, it is a pain in the arse and a war of attrition.
Right, remind me.
Wee Ming turns into a big demon.
Yeah.
She's at the top of the screen and she summons sort of out of the floor smaller, lesser demons. You have to shoot them, and once they're out of the way, you can shoot her. When you kill them, they will drop paper ammo, so you can replenish ammo. But I was so short on ammo that I was basically having to kill them with a knife to pick up the ammo they dropped, to go and cash it in, to then try and shoot her. And it was just a mess. Why not just give you enough ammo to finish the fight? Yeah, you basically, you can get to that point and be so short on ammo that you can't win.
Oh, yeah, that's poor design.
That's dickish. If you're going into a boss fight, just give you a ton of ammo.
I just want to see it because I can't remember it. So, and I definitely saw both.
We skipped over a step. Just before that last boss fight, you're given the choice of being Hana and killing Glas.
Yes.
Or being Glas and killing Hana, and then going into the final boss fight, which is a real, well, quite a shock.
It is, yeah. The difference between if you play on hard, you get to say, let's just all be friends. And it does the Hana boss fight, but you don't shoot Glas.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just looking. Yeah, I don't think I played that.
You would have only have chosen Hana.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every time. I thought that I had chosen both to see both endings, but I think what I probably did was just YouTube the other ending. Because I don't remember that ending at all. I would always have chosen Hana every single time.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that I'd gone back and because you can literally, and apparently you can do this with the hard level thing as well to finish it on hard. All you have to do is save your game, go into the options, change it to hard, reload your game, and beat the final boss on hard.
Really?
Yeah, and then you get the proper ending where everybody lives.
That's janky.
It isn't it? That is, yeah, from beginning to end, janky. Fucking hell. Final thoughts on Fear Effect, the series, anything about it at all?
Once I got over my initial hatred of it, I did learn to love it. Good story, very good characters, well written. I don't want to give it too much credit and say a flawed masterpiece, but it's a very good game with some very poor bits in it.
Yeah.
But it's a very mixed bag.
I think I would go that extra step. I would call it a flawed masterpiece.
Yeah.
I would call the first game a flawed masterpiece. Yeah, I think there's enough different and special about it that you can forgive all its wrongs. Fear Effect 2, not so much. Fear Effect 7, definitely not. But Fear Effect 1, I think it's worth overcoming the things that are wrong with it to experience everything that is right with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that everything that's right with it does go right up to the end. You are, again, that this whole thing about the King of Hell and all that is revealed before the final boss fight, and all this stuff, all this Chinese mythology, the depth that it holds. It's worth playing through the game for. If it was Fear Effect 2, I'd be saying, is it worth getting through the game to experience the end of the game? I genuinely don't think it is, because I think there are parts of the game that are too hard and parts of the ending that are too rushed to make it feel worthwhile. Whereas Fear Effect 1, despite being not quite as good looking and not quite as slick and not quite as long, it is just a really well put together, focused game.
Yeah, no, that's fair. One final thought I had on it: if you're thinking about buying it, do not buy the versions that are on Steam. Emulate it. They have put zero effort into the ports to Steam. It's widescreen because it's zoomed in, stretched widescreen, which can be turned off. Comes with a CRT filter, which isn't as good as the CRT filters you get in emulators. it looks awful, and there's just no quality of life things that you could very easily put in there.
Yeah.
Like you could choose to upscale the graphics or not, and they just haven't bothered.
How much did it go for on Steam?
It's actually on sale right now, which by the time this comes out will have ended like a month ago. But like Sedna is like £1.20.
Yeah.
And the other two are like a £5 each.
Okay. So save your £5. Fear Effect on the PlayStation, you can get a pretty much pristine version of the game, which comes in one of those very cool double disc cases because it is 4 discs long. It's 22 quid. For God's sake, I mean,
yeah.
I've drunk probably 22 quid worth of beer whilst we've been recording this podcast. It's not a lot of money, and it's a lovely thing to have. And you can pick up an actual PlayStation for about 20 quid these days, surely.
Can you? I thought they were getting expensive
No,
again.
they probably are. I'm just about to check, actually. I remember picking up one at a boot sale for a £5 not so long ago. So
I would say if you can, play it on the original hardware on a CRT TV. It would take away a lot of the graphics issues.
Yeah, I've literally just chucked into eBay PlayStation 1 console, 25 quid, buy it now, free delivery, with a controller and the power cable, right? Yes, if you can play it with a CRT TV, it does look better because of the fuzziness, the general fuzziness of the game, and the rendered backgrounds does look better on a CRT TV. But you basically could pay £45 for a PlayStation and a copy of this game, and that is less by about 25% than you'll pay for any number of PlayStation 5, Xbox Series 27, 4, or whatever they're calling their newest thing, and you will have a much better time. I genuinely, that is 45 quid that I would recommend you spending. If I'd looked up on eBay now the price of Fear Effect 1 and it said 45 quid, I'd have said worth it. So, buy yourself a new console. Yeah, I think so.
You're going to play it through once and potentially never play it again.
Shall we talk about some cocktails?
Yes.
You're going first, but I just want to get in ahead of time and just say, as with most of this episode in my confused brain, I picked a cocktail and then I went, oh, that's actually Fear Effect 2. So I picked a different cocktail, also Fear Effect 2. So my cocktail is Fear Effect 2. I tried both of them, so I can have a Dave. Technically, I've got 2. Dave, what did you come up with?
Right, so I technically haven't gone for a cocktail. So you've gone for 2, I haven't gone for 1.
Oh, well, that's good.
After falling in love with the word psychopomp, I found a company in the UK called the Psychopomp Micro Distillery.
Ooh.
That makes handcrafted gins.
Oh, hello.
Which I'm not a fan of, but you might really want to check this out. They specifically make a thing called single shot distilled gin. So it has no other processes other than its initial distillation.
Ooh.
So yeah, being a big fan of gin, you might want to check them out.
I mean, that's pretty hardcore. I've distilled my own alcohol before, and I know that most of the time when you homebrew stuff, your first distillation is called the stripping run, and it's to get rid of all the harsh shit, and then you do it again. So it's interesting that this has only had 1 distillation.
Yeah. So yeah, give them a look, check them out. But they do in their shop section, they do a pre-mixed Negroni, which is the Psychopomp Negroni. So it's going to have to be that I go for, just because I want to say Psychopomp one more time.
I mean, fair. Negronis are a lovely drink.
Just not overly expensive as well. The premixed Negroni is 32 quid for a 70-cent litre bottle. So you'd pay more than that for a bottle of mezcal.
Yeah, you would.
Or I would,
and
anyway.
I mean, to be fair, honestly, I think the only problem, I would say, pre-mixed Negroni, keep it in the freezer, and I reckon you're going to do well out of that. Because a Negroni is quite a simple cocktail. A Negroni is equal measures gin, vermouth, and Campari.
Yeah.
And so it's quite simple anyway. And none of those are particularly sort of sensitive ingredients. They're not going to break down or lose anything from being frozen. So it basically, all you're missing out by having that pre-mixed is the cooling. A Negroni is a stirred cocktail, so you stir it over ice and then pour it over ice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon that's quite a good shout. 32 quid, pre-mixed Negroni.
Yeah, I might buy one of those just on a whim, just to see what it's like.
Negroni is very much a cocktail that's in my wheelhouse, very bitter. The gin isn't particularly prevalent. I reckon you could probably make, I imagine there is a different cocktail that is Negroni made with vodka. But yeah, it's I mean, essentially, it's a martini with Campari in it.
Yeah.
But Campari is a very strong flavour, so it will change it a lot. I like the sound of that, mate. I like the sound of this company.
Yeah, based in Bristol, and there's a bar there as well.
Oh,
not a million miles away.
I don't get to go to Bristol anymore. I used to have to go to Bristol for work, and my nephew was in and out of Bristol for a while, but both of those things have changed since. One, because I got a new job, and two, because he got a new girlfriend. So
Fair enough.
Bristol is a very cool place. Big fan of Bristol.
Yeah, I like Bristol. So yeah, there we go. It's the Psycho Pump Negroni, I guess, is my cocktail of choice.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely fine, mate. Nothing wrong with that. So, according to their website, their Negroni is done with their Woden Gin, Italian Bitter Aperitivo, which is Campari, and Aperitivo Co. Turin Vermouth. And they say do a double measure over ice. I reckon a double measure of that is probably like half a measure short of what you would normally get in a Negroni. So I say ignore what they say and put 75 ml of it over ice and enjoy a proper sized vermouth. Very, very nice drink. They look like a really interesting company. Good find, Dave.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say Psycho Pump.
I know you did. We're going to give them a link. microdistillery.co.uk. Psycho Pump. We can put a link in our description to them because you should go and have a look because it looks like some fun stuff.
They do gin distilling workshops as well.
They do absinthe.
Yes, they do their own absinthe.
Artisanal small batch absinthe. French oak aged. How big? 35 centilitres for 30 quid. Wowzers. Oof. Well, that's absinthe for you. Good absinthe costs money. If you're not paying double what you put for whiskey for absinthe, you are going to get shit absinthe. But you use a lot less of it. Anyway, right. Great. Oh, clearly, because the fact that I am like raking through their website for stuff. That was a great find, mate. Well done.
So what did you eventually go for that's Fear Effect 2 twice?
Yeah, sorry.
Don't be, I don't care. Because
you don't know, DNA sequencing and all that sort of thing plays a big part in Fear Effect 2.
Is this where the Helix bit of the name comes from?
Yeah. And I mean, for a lot of the game, this isn't part of the thing that is final act. Oh yeah, and then there's all this other stuff. This feels like where the game is going before it takes a really hard right turn. And so there are a couple of cocktails called DNA. There's a DNA number 1 and the DNA number 2. DNA number 1, really, really nice. I had the ingredients to make it. It's on Difford if you want to look it up and give it a shot. Nice cocktail. Didn't blow my socks off or anything, but it was a nice cocktail. But yeah, my stupid brain did this thing where I went, oh, actually, yeah, DNA, that's a reference to Fear Effect 2. So I'll go and have a look for something else. Then I got stuck on a cocktail called Naked in the Rain. As a reference to the sleaziness of the marketing and the character Rain of Fear Effect 2. Again, sorry.
I was going to say, which you're perpetuating.
Yeah, it's my own fault. I am part of the problem, not part of the solution on this one, sadly. But fortunately, very, very, very nice cocktail. Basically a riff on the Naked and Famous. Naked and Famous is one of those classic cocktails that is mezcal, something like Aperol, yellow chartreuse and lime juice in equal measures, just under a shot. So it's probably, I imagine it's like 3/4 of a fluid ounce, but I'm looking at it in milliliters on Difford and it's 22.5. That was the Naked and Famous. The Naked in the Rain just replaces the yellow chartreuse for elderflower liqueur. Yellow chartreuse is apparently, I've never had it. No, I don't know, but it's quite a herbal kind of.
Never had any colour chartreuse.
No, me neither actually, unless I have in a cocktail and like that was served and I didn't know. But yeah, so this replaces that with elderflower liqueur, which is something that I wouldn't say I had. What I have is elderflower cordial. And I've tasted a lot of liqueurs in my time. So I put 5 ml of elderflower cordial and topped it up to 22.5 ml with vodka, and it tasted exactly like any other liqueur I've ever had flavoured with something ever. I know that's a bit brutal. Do you know what it is? It's a bit of a janky version. So yeah, let's put that out there to tie it back to the game again. And so yeah, mezcal. It says Aperol style liqueur. We all know that Aperol is fucking vile. And if you feel differently about Aperol, you're wrong. So I obviously replaced that with Campari, much like your own Negroni drink. My version of elderflower cure, I had a lime in the fridge that I managed to just about squeeze 22.5 ml out of. And you shove more than a glass, you shake it, you strain it back into another glass filled with ice. Bloody lovely. Really up my street, this one. I think I would like it. I think it would genuinely be a lesser drink with Aperol. And yeah, okay, the Naked and Famous might be an Aperol drink, and so is this. But for my taste, I prefer drinks that are bitter and sharper and on that end of things. Fucking delicious. Really, really, really good. Mezcal smokiness with the Campari bitter and fruitiness, elderflower coming through. I think you can really, it hits you in the nose more than tasting, and lime juice is just there. I mean, generally citrus is a thing, but also it acts a bit like salt does in food. It just elevates all the flavours of everything else. Just a really bloody nice cocktail. Unfortunately, I only had enough Campari to make one, otherwise I definitely would have had another one.
I thought you were going to say you only had enough mezcal for one.
Oh, not much more than that. But the end of my mezcal is going to be drunk neat over ice, because I'm getting to the end of that bottle and it needs to be properly enjoyed. I think in Mexico they drink it neat with, I think they salt some kind of fruit and just eat it with that.
Is it not sal de casano?
It might be. I think it's orange. I think it's a slice of orange salted. How to drink mezcal with orange. Pour the mezcal neat into a small clay cup or sipping glass. Sip the spirit slowly, then immediately bite into a fresh orange dusted with sal de casano.
Yay!
Amazing. That was my drink, Naked in the Rain. Next time, we are going to be talking about, as far as I am concerned, one of the best free video games ever made. It's Outrun's 40th anniversary, and so we are going to spend some time giving it every bit of love that it deserves on Cocktail Mode, the podcast where gaming and alcohol are in